Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelove, and this is Mayan Speedplay number 21. We left off at war, about to invade the Iberian Peninsula. We have destroyed the previous Iberian colonial states, Castile and Portugal. Now we are going after the Novo imperialists, Aragon and their Leonese allies. Aragon is actually the junior partner in this war. We go ahead and send our armies over to destroy this 29 stack of Aragonese soldiers. They're attacking Kong's 30 stack and doing a pretty good job fighting it. They do not fare nearly so well against our soldiers combined with the Congoese, or Congese. At any rate, we go ahead and stack wipe that army. Now it is completely taken care of. Africa is secure, at least for the time being, and for the first time in our nation's history, for the first time in our continent's history, we are traveling over to Europe with armies in order to hopefully just defeat them. There are still rebel issues. Luckily we managed to deal with them by just raising autonomy, since our armies are all occupied with occupying the old world. Commonwealth has broken free from Sweden, so maybe if they win that war we will see the end of that. And immediately we take over Granada, so their forts are not holding up very well whatsoever. And we're just going to plow deep into Aragon, hopefully get at least one territory out of this war. Admittedly, it is up to our war leader Kong. They do fight us, however, they do lose the battle, although it is a little closer than I would like. We chase them down into Africa. Unfortunately, the Gibraltar region auto-unsieged because of the fort, so they were able to escape. Nevertheless, we start sieging their fortresses. They're sieging back one, but we're going to finish quicker. And once that's done, all their areas are sieged out. We'll hopefully be able to get at least one of these territories we're claiming. And then Kong just goes ahead and declares peace, not getting us anything, which is a bit upsetting, but honestly, since we're in a Regency Council, we can't be too mad. We're going to go after Lyon, also go ahead and try to deal with some domestic issues, just raising autonomy to avoid revolts. And we're just carrying our forces over to Lyon. We'll unfortunately not be able to siege them out either. Once again, if we weren't in a Regency Council, I would have been fairly upset, or just honestly not helped our ally. Since we were in a Regency Council, though, we really lost absolutely nothing by helping them. And with that in mind, we go back to colonization and just work on domestic affairs. We still have a notification saying that we can build more states, so we're not build, but basically just designate more states. We mess around with our advisors for a bit, just trying to get everything more or less worked out. We have a lot of colonies in progress, which is draining our income by a bit. However, we have just such an absurdly high income that it doesn't really matter. I'm sure sooner rather than later we'll find a way to spend this massive surplus we've got. So no worries there. We're also colonizing the Philippines. Since we've figured out the entire eastern seaboard, that's entirely ours now. So no Europeans can get there. We're going to try to get the Philippines to just maintain over 50% control over that trade node to get some trade from Asia into our mainland. And we even raise a couple additional armies. An interesting note is that the game just recently patched, so if we kill all of the natives, we'll be able to just go ahead and have all those provinces be our culture and our religion again. So we're probably going to do that next episode. I didn't know that at the time of recording this one. We do go ahead and set up all these new states, since we do have a surplus in admin points, seeing as the Regency Council has prevented us from declaring all of these foreign wars. We have a little over 100 years left in the series, which is slightly worrying as the time is really ticking down, and that really is the case in EU4, is the clock is your biggest enemy after a while. And we're really at that point now. We've spent several hundred admin points on all those territories. We go ahead and just focus on our colonies, just generally. And we still have a little while before our heir, 2 years, and then we will have our heir in charge of our country. They are much, much better than old mediocrities. I believe our new leader's stats will be 5, 4, and 3. The Regency Council stats are something like 4, 0, 3. And mediocrities was 1, 1, 4. So even these like 12 to 13 years of being forced to work on internal issues, we just added a whole bunch of territories to our estates. That isn't really a setback. It was probably for the long term a better choice for us. That way we won't be blocked by a lack of admin points to core areas. We might go after Japan, however, I figure that the best thing that we need to focus on, the most important thing to focus on, is going to be the destruction of the European powers. We do go ahead and upgrade our fleets, the idea being we need to defeat the British. We will never be safe so long as European armies and European states are on the American continents. So as soon as our Regency Council ends, as soon as our ships upgrade, we're going to try to track down their navy and destroy the British Empire, at least in the Americas. We're continuing to colonize. That's all going very swimmingly. I really wish I had known. There we go. Our 543 leader is now in charge. We can declare war on the British at basically any point at all. Our ships, at least one group is fully healed up. The other group, 3 more months, and they will be at 100%. We do go ahead and continue colonizing, as that is just really going to be an ever-present portion of this campaign up until almost certainly the very end. And we ship our navy on over. We paused in ports for a couple months just to get up to 100%. We turn on all of our forts. It is going to be the moment when we actually take the fight to the British for the first time. We've already stepped foot in Europe. We've defeated European armies on their home continent. We know it can be done. And one issue, though, is we need to find where their armies actually are. Ideally, we will keep them all bottled up in really any other place but ours. So if we can find their massive army with all of their transports, we do split our forces up to better search. Although it doesn't look like they're anywhere near the home islands. We're going to just double check to be sure, although we are having a weirdly difficult time fighting the British Royal Navy. We do go ahead and just reform our navy, since they are decidedly not on their home islands. They're somewhere in the British Imperial region, and there we go, we found them. 94 ships rolling up from Africa back to their home islands. We're going to intercept them and declare the war once we arrive. There they go, we'll meet them off the Sea of the Azores. Alright, now time to declare the war. We're going to declare against one of their colonial nations. Ideally, we'll be able to annex the whole thing. Apparently we can't. We have to go against the British proper, and we don't actually have any good casus bellis. We could take over London, but that's kind of unrealistic. Instead, we go for religious ideas instead of humanist. Sorry, everyone who'd been suggesting humanist. However, this will give us a holy war casus belli, and we will, in just a moment, it looks like they're bringing troops up, now declare this war. And there we go. The Mayan crusade has begun. We are going to hopefully destroy their navy in this battle, and that will determine the course of the war. And immediately, just terribly successful. We destroyed their navy, not all of it, but a decent portion of it. We're going to just plow through all of their South American holdings. There's nothing they can really do about it. We are going to be the dominant force in the Americas, not even allowing them any access. When this war ends, we will have to remove the European presence, at least the British presence, from the Americas. And anyway, so we just go ahead and split our forces up. We don't really have to worry about anything. An interesting note is Britain is allied to Austria. Unfortunately, they have a trade navy that beat our transports. We don't have enough ships to actually... basically, we can't get naval superiority everywhere. We have naval superiority in the British home islands, and that trapped all their transports, so we don't really need to worry about being invaded. So we're eventually going to grind them down. Austria is their ally, which is part of the reason I decided we needed to get naval superiority over by Europe, because I don't really want the Austrians to feel confident shipping over their massive imperial armies to just ruin our day and our time, as well as the British army, which is considerably larger than our own. So, with that in mind, we have already seized the vast majority of the British New World territories. We are just sitting outside of their, basically where their fleet is. And we're just going to build our armies back up and try to sneak a few of them over, maybe take over some islands, maybe just resolve whatever issues we can. Fact of the matter is the momentum, the initiative is on our side. As long as we can keep hitting them where it hurts, we're going to eventually win the war. We do go ahead and see how much war score it will take. It'll be around 39, and there's a British army in the south, so we should probably go and deal with that before messing around with their home islands, just because we found out in that war against Haiti that a single army roving around an empty continent can do a lot of harm. So we're not going to allow that to become a problem. We also get the imperialism casus belli, so I guess we could have just waited literally like 8 months, and we would have had that against the British right now. So that arguably was a mistake. At any rate, we will go ahead and just siege all those areas out. They are attacking us up in Newfoundland, so we'll bring over one of our 2 armies and hopefully just destroy their forces up there. Sorry that we're just flying around everywhere, but this is one of those giant multi-front wars that just happens everywhere. Luckily, not all that much is happening at any given moment. We are going to run this transport navy up, try to get all those 3 armies over to siege out Newfoundland proper. And there we go. We're just moving our forces. Just troop dispositions at this point. No really dramatic battles or fights are occurring. We avoid their navy, even though it's small. We have only transports and don't want to lose any of our men. And they drop off some troops and then pull a few others back on. It looks like we won't catch their entire army, but we do catch the majority. We're going to pull these forces up, and in a moment we'll have sieged out all of these areas. That force will avoid enemy forces, and generally we're just moving our forces around at this point. There's not really all that much to it. We have the war more or less in our hands, 25% war score. They have high war enthusiasm, which is unfortunate. We try to slink on past that British Navy. Everything is going decently well. We merge our armies together, move those up, try to send a colonist to turn that from being English, and we just generally avoid all the navies we can. We just lose the stability instead of 1,500 ducats, because 1,500 ducats is not, it's worth more than a stability. Alright, with that all said and done, we go ahead and raise another army because Brittany landed troops in South America. We go ahead and land on the British island where all of their fleet is located, the idea being if we drop enough forces, they will have terrain penalties to attack us, and hopefully we'll just be able to hold it for a month, so they won't be able to cross over. Unfortunately, they do charge right on in. We reinforce, however, it is not going well. Sadly, not both of our armies retreated to the sea. One army retreated inland and was destroyed because they were incredibly dumb, and that was a very stupid thing for them to do, and just upsetting, and it cost us a lot of our war score. So if we're going to land any more forces on the British home islands, it'll probably be stacks of 1,000 with the hope that we'll be able to distract their armies so that we can take over a province so they can't transfer troops from sea to sea. Anyway, though, so that was a bit disheartening. Not the end of the world, however. We're still colonizing the Philippines. We're going to destroy this Britannish army, and it looks like we just stack wipe them, but they have another. So we'll siege back all of those holdings in South America. Overall, though, we're going to come back to this tomorrow. Thank you not tomorrow, but next week. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. And sorry this video is out a little bit later than usual.